Today's readings of the daily Mass, the Catholic Mass. First, we start in the book of Ruth, where we see that Naomi has two daughter-in-laws, and Naomi's husband dies. The daughter-in-law, Naomi's sons die, and Naomi decides to go back to her people. And one of her daughter-in-laws goes back to her own original tribe, and Ruth stays out of love with Naomi. And then in the gospel, we hear what is the greatest commandment. The Pharisees hear that the Sadducees were silenced by Jesus. And so one of their elders goes and asks Jesus, poses the question. Come on, Toby. Poses the question, what's the greatest commandment? Jesus says to love God with all your mind, heart, and soul. And then he says, and the second, which is as great as it is, or something. I found that phrase. Read that and see what that phrase in between. I found it interesting that they seem to put the second commandment on par with the first. But the second one is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think that's how it's worded. So, my thinking here is, Toby, come. There's a bee's nest over there. My thinking is that the first reading, Ruth shows great love to Naomi. And in the second reading, or the gospel, Jesus tells us to love. So, get out there and love somebody today. Don't you want somebody to love? I mean, really, don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You know what? You better find somebody to love. Do that today, and you'll be meeting the requirements of the commandments that Jesus tells us. And I think that would also entail being kind to everybody and everything. I don't want these dog walks to take 40 and 50 minutes because I've got things to do, really. But I know the dogs need to get out and they need this exercise. So even though it's inconvenient for me, I'm going to do it for the dogs. So I'm going to love the dogs as well. Come on, guys. There's a business over there. Come. So love somebody today. Like us.